Welcome to Experiments in Leadership. I am Sonu Bhasin. Experiments in Leadership is a space where industry leaders share their leadership experiments. Experiments that worked for them and experiments that did not. So I have with me today Vijay Rai. He is the 1972 batch of the TAS, the Tata Administrative Service, and he was also the youngest managing director of a large Tata company, Rallis India. And after leaving the Tatas, he now runs a protein supplements business with his sons. And he was just telling me that after the age of 45, everyone needs protein supplements. So maybe we'll talk about it at another time. So welcome, Vijay, and looking forward to the conversation with you. And
my pleasure. Thank
thanks.
you.
And, when we were talking about the Tata's Leadership Experiment book, which is the story of the TAS, I remember that you said that you caught Darbari Seth's eye because of your bluntness, because you were on the shop floor and he asked you how long would a particular project would take, and you told him straight out. Tell us about it. You were a youngster at that time. Were you not phased? He was a big name. Were you not phased at that time?
Well, that's correct. My journey started with this, but it was not a planned thing. It happened by accident. The Bari said turned up at Tata Chemicals, and because he had some issues with his plane in Jamnagar, I did not know who Janin the Bari said was. So, question of being afraid of an old man who walks into the workshop and asks you questions did not
Old.
arise. So, I presume it was a fortuitous accident because he couldn't, all the other senior managers running the show were out on some job or the other. And I happened to be the only guy who was an engineer and doing training, TS training at the workshop. So obviously it was quite easy for him to tell him because I had no intention of spending the rest of my life in Tata Chemicals in the workshop.
Yes. And so you told him, and he liked your
No, he challenged. I told him, and he challenged me, and he says, "Well, if you get the resources you're talking about, will it be done?" I said, "Yes," and it got done. That's why I got called to Bombay, and the whole story started.
right. So did that would that define your leadership style or the way that you look at leaders?
I don't think I would connect it at all with leadership. This was an incident which gave me an opportunity to work with a massive leader. He was a
Mm.
massive leader.
And
He
then
was
you,
admired totally. And whatever I learned about leadership was much later while I was working with him, because I saw how he dealt with people of different levels.
yeah,
He definitely was, I would say, a leader of the decades before, because he believed that a leader was somebody who stood at a higher level, maintained his distance, and commanded and demanded respect. He was not the egalitarian person which we have now, who go down and sort of pat everybody in the back and say, let's do it together, that sort of stuff. No,
yeah.
he was a leader, he was a boss,
Mm.
and he expected everybody to know it and respect.
And respect that, yeah. And so maybe did you when you were in a leadership position, how did you react to youngsters who were honest with you?
Well, first of all, the question of being honest or not dishonest arises if somebody is afraid that if I say something, it could be judged from any meaning other than I'm intending to. Over the years, I had been able to convince anybody talking that if I don't find out what the right thing is, okay,
Yeah.
I will penalize you. If I find out the right thing, whether it's good or bad, then I will definitely take you to the next level.
Okay.
And many youngsters, just like I got the opportunity in rallies, got the opportunity that within 5 to 6 years, they were either factory managers or obviously they got better opportunity, they left and became managers outside rallies, and some of them outside Tata. In fact, of the 26 people who left when I left rallies because of whatever corporate issues, 22 went on to become MDs, chief executives in different companies in India and across the world.
Yeah.
One of the youngsters is still the MD of a very major commodities company in Gabon. And the other guy is in Hong Kong. Mr. Karlikar is the twice retired chief executive of FMC and Cargill, and so on and so forth. All of them made it big, some in business. They set up their own businesses and did well.
Yeah.
And I think the important thing about the leadership, which I learned from Darbari Seth, and I think I tried to pass it on to others, you got to make sure everybody believes he's the business head of what he's doing.
Right.
He's responsible for his benefits. He's responsible for his progress and will benefit if it progresses. And he should feel that he owns it, and he should get a restless night if something is not being completed or not done.
Yeah. Yeah.
He can't come back next to me and say, hello, I told this fellow this, I told this fellow this. I said, for what?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not hired to tell people. You're hired to get it done.
Execution. Yeah.
Execution.
Yeah. Okay. So during all the years, you must have had various leadership experiments, as I call them. So let's start with a particular one that worked for you. If you can share that story with us.
A particular one that worked for me. Well, experiment number one.
Yeah.
I wanted to travel abroad. So when an opportunity came, I said to Darbari Seth, look, I'm willing to take this responsibility. It was in the forests of Malaysia. It wasn't exactly what I thought abroad would be, but anyway, it was building a palm oil factory north of Kuala Lumpur, and maybe just like a plantation we have here. It worked because the technique which Darbari Seth taught, he says, when you want to build a factory, you have to get the best equipment. The biggest problem is we in India don't know what is the best equipment.
And this must have been before liberalization. This must have been when India itself was a closed economy and did not have access to a lot of knowledge and technology.
74, 75.
Yeah.
So he sent me abroad to meet with the top companies manufacturing the equipment. And he gave one advice. Go to one company and ask them, what's the best thing about your equipment? Learn. Go to the next company and ask them the same question and see the difference. And by the time you go to the third company, you know everything about what is good or bad about the equipment. And that selection of equipment made Unitata, that was the company in Malaysia, a very successful company. And within 2 years, we recovered everything that we had spent. Of course, there was a little bit element of luck, but we recovered.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful experiment because of the success of Unitata. I got to work with the big dadas like Mr. Palkiwala, who was our legal boss and on the board of Unitata. Mr. Bilamoria, A.B. Adi Bilamoria, not D. Bilamoria. And I would never have got a chance to work with these guys if the Malaysian venture hadn't been a success.
Yeah.
And in those days, Tatas had all the big shots on the international companies. So wonderful experience.
Yeah. So now let's talk about an experiment that did not work for you.
Okay. The experiment which did not work was the cockiness of a youngster. Darbari Seth gave me a job and said, hello, the price of oil is going up, but the price of soap is not being changed. And we were in then Tata Oil Mills. So we're going to lose a lot of money. So obviously, those days we did not have whatever net shed. I learned from the side business that a detergent, LABS, is a very good washing media and better than oil.
Mm-hmm.
So the stupidity was, look, we'll put detergent in soap and reduce the oil, so the cost will come down.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the boss, I'm going to do this. Boss also had no clue. Nobody had any clue. We did it. The experiment seemed to work because it was washing and the cost had come down. So the great Mr. Darbari Seth ordered 1 container of DDBS import, which was a huge quantity of DDBS.
Yeah.
Because we used to make 501 soap, which was very large volume.
Yeah.
And then the soap learned it was not compatible, oil and DDBS.
Mm.
So we had this whole container,
Yeah.
which was going to become a bomb. But it happened to be 73, and there was Israel war, and the price of oil went up from $1 to $7. DDBS price went up. So my failure became a success because Tata Oil made a lot of money.
Because of your failure.
But the Bari said told me very clearly, hey, you little bloody lad, what did you learn from this? I said, well, many things. He said, no, what you learn is don't be cocky. Try, test everything out.
Yeah.
And there has to be 3 sets of tests before you ever make a technical decision. Don't you bloody well think your technology knowledge is good just because people around you are from the arts and finance and section, which are likely to be in Tatas for the next 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
Don't make this stupid idea that because they don't understand, you should get away with what you want to get away. Good lesson.
Yeah.
Learned it.
Yeah.
Kept it in my head forever.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I hear you talk, and I also know the time that you spent in the Tatas and with the people, like you said, Darbari Seth it was a different kind of a leader. It was a different kind of a era. But when you look at the youngsters today and you look at the business environment today, what are some of the things, and if I can say three things that you can tell the youngsters of today, the young professional managers of today, things that you have distilled through your years of work life?
Okay, first and the most important thing is the person on the field knows the answers.
Mm-hmm.
The person at the factory factory floor knows all the answers.
Yeah.
And the only leadership it works is that if you go to a level, you must maintain that you're the boss. No difference. But when you go to the level, you have to keep telling him, hello, I don't know anything. I want to learn from you.
So isn't that contradictory that you have to maintain the fact that you're the boss, but you also have to say, I don't know anything?
The leadership is being able to stand on a platform or configure the relationship such that you're standing on the platform.
Yeah.
Hello, I am a big man. I am the boss.
Yeah.
And you will be beneficial if you tell me the truth and make the company grow.
Mm-hmm.
So you should feel grateful that I'm giving him the opportunity to speak to me.
Which is very
And he,
counter, sorry to interrupt, but that's very counter to the current style of management which is being propagated, that you have to be one amongst the boys, you have to be one amongst your team, and you have to be almost like a buddy. So therefore, will the youngsters say, oh, what does he know? He lived in another era.
this is socialism versus whatever story.
Okay.
Leadership is when you admire a leader. Leadership is when you do anything for him.
Yeah.
Leadership is not only you'll tell him the truth, you'll work day and night for him. And
Yeah.
for that, the leader has to, starting from point one, become some kind of a person standing at a different platform.
Right.
Whether you call it Mr. Elon Musk, he runs a very this thing, but he is the boss, he is the leader.
Yeah.
In his company, everybody looks up to him saying he's the next new idea, which probably he will be and he does become.
Yeah.
Same as Stephen Jobs, the most successful guy among those fellows in that time. He didn't want to become one with others or X or Y.
Mm-hmm.
If you maintain a kind of image or a position where people come and say, hello, I want to tell you, I want to work for you, I want to help you.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to back it up by study and developing a strategy which works. That strategy normally comes out from information or working which the team does.
Yeah.
You have to observe it from the background. You have to get information sources, put it together, and it should make sense. But it should never be that, hello, we are in the 10 together, and we are buddies and all that. That's not leadership.
Okay.
I
Okay.
remember I was much younger than most of the colleagues in rallies.
Mm-hmm.
And if we had a rally party, I'd come in at whatever, 8:30. I love my drink, but I would have just one or two and then say, okay, boys, live it up, learn, and walk out.
Hmm.
I had to make them believe that I was different. I had to walk out. I
Yeah.
hated it. I went and sat in my room and drank, but still, it was absolutely necessary that you maintain some kind of decorum.
Right.
And they admire you for that.
So while we are still on that first mantra and we are going deep diving into it, so my next question around the first mantra that you've just said is, how do you then ward off against being seen as arrogant?
I don't think you should try and ward off being seen as A or B or C. Whatever you are, you are.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to people properly and react to them rather than instructing them, you will not be seen as arrogant.
Okay.
I mean, it depends on your ability to listen and grasp what they're saying. If you add value to their saying, if somebody comes up and says, in this market, this happened. So does it mean in the other market, this did not happen? I mean, this is adding.
Yeah.
So, I remember a marketing case in which we had a big market, Guntur market, where we had 8 crore sales. And we had another market where we had 50 lakh sales. So somebody came up and says, no, we must have 10% growth. I said, what shit? You can't have 10% growth in 50 lakhs. So you have to have 3,000 crore
Yeah.
percent. So when you interact and then the rest of the guys, say the Guntur market guy says that that's very fair, sir, because we are being had. Because we are big, for us to achieve the same result as these small markets, we get had.
Yeah.
What is happening is you are reacting to the normal day-to-day feelings of these guys. And when they think you're reacting to their feelings, it's not arrogance. It is still looking up to the boss.
Right. So that is your first essence that you have gleaned after your work life, is that you have to be seen as a leader and therefore be different. Anything else that you want to tell the youngsters, the young managers? I wouldn't call them youngsters, but
you
young managers.
must go deep into the subject technically.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is born to be technically boss. We're all, when we go to college, we know nothing about the subject we're going to learn. But if you're going to be in one field, whether it be electronics or textile or XY, you must learn deep about that subject. It doesn't take much effort. Any intelligent man can learn all aspects. He doesn't have to be an engineer or financer or this. Even if it's, let's say, he's in a finance company, he must go deep and learn about all the nuances of finance. So try and focus on one's subject, which is of material to you, and learn deep into it.
Yeah. Okay. So any other mantra for the young managers?
I'm not too sure the word mantra applies, but
Okay, learning. Advice, Gyan, Guru Gyan.
Okay. The other thing which definitely works is how to be, let's say, close and yet distant. When people are nice in a particular level, you start looking at them with a different eye. Then suddenly at the next level, they are not as appropriate. You have to look at them a different eye. That internal transition is the toughest thing for a manager to do. From a guy you admire so much, now you have to tell him, look, you're not suitable for this job. Either you stay here or you can go. And he's a guy you've been telling for 5 years you're the best in line. Because at the level which you judged him, he was the best in line.
Right.
And now times have changed or things have changed.
Yeah.
So that being able to be impartial,
right,
and select, even if it's a new guy whom you've not worked with or lived with, but has shown the ability to do a thing properly. That's
yeah.
a very, very tough decision.
Yeah. So, I mean, nobody said that being a leader was easy. It is difficult because you have to deal with other people who are humans, and when you are dealing with human emotions, it does get difficult. But I guess you have learned, you have done well, and now you're working with your son. So surely, there must be something you're doing right, because they're still working with you. It's very difficult to work with family. You can still boss over, your employees, but it's very difficult to boss over your own family.
Okay. We have a rule in the family. You have to work 7 to 8 years outside the family company. You must show
Right.
that you can reach some level.
Yeah.
And then you can join.
Okay.
My elder son worked 7 years with Bristol Cone and then KPMG. He reached a certain level and now he's joined.
Right.
My daughter works with Deutsche Bank. She's in a finance area.
Yeah.
My younger son is still working
Right.
with a corporate. He has to prove. I mean, he's done well so far. He
Yeah.
has another 2-3 years to prove, and then he'll get an option. I mean, you don't join the company just because you're related. I mean, that disturbs the whole system below.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so I think there's a lot of different kind of, if you don't want to call it mantra, but I would call it gyan, that you have just shared with us. And again, it is my belief that there is no one particular kind of leadership that works. It depends on the individual, depends on the environment. So I've enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for being here. And I will talk to you offline about the protein supplements, and maybe our viewers can also find out more about the protein supplements, especially the ones who are above 45. And viewers, we will have more conversations. Watch this space for more. And also, please do subscribe to my channel. Press the subscription button. It's free of cost. And see you soon.